In this video, I'm going to show you my unwrapping process. So I use a add-on called Menu Editor, and that allows me basically to plug in scripts into my UI. So it also allows me to change my UI, but what I want you to focus on primarily is basically this button right here with the plus and minus. So add UV grid, and these two buttons right here. So that's add seam and update UVs and remove seam and update UVs. So essentially these three buttons encompass my entire unwrapping process. So what that looks like is I would select my object, I would go add UV grid, and all that's going to do is basically add a UV texture. So now this just looks gray because we don't have any UVs. So if we start coming in here and we start unwrapping, then we can solve that. So, for example, I could select some edge loops, and I can go to add seam and update UVs. And now we can see that we've got some UVs here. So they're still really distorted. So we're going to go and add another seam, and we're going to add a seam just right along the middle here and right along the middle here. So we're going to go add seam and update UVs. And now that's actually looking really great. And we've got an image preview here that shows what those islands look like. Next, we're going to do this one. So we're going to select the top face and the bottom face, and we're going to go add seam and update UVs. And then we're going to select one of these edges and add seam and update UVs. And now that looks great. So we can check that in edit mode, and that looks fantastic. Maybe we want to remove this seam because we don't want a seam on the outside. We can do that. So we can just select the edge loop, and we can go remove seam and update UVs. And basically all these macros are doing are essentially, when you have your selection, they go to mark seam, mark sharp, and then it selects the whole object, every face, and it hits unwrap. And it basically takes those three steps and it combines it into one. That's all it does. So now once you are at the stage and you've got it unwrapped, everything's looking good, there's no stretching, we can go into the UV image editor. And we can see that things are looking pretty good. I'm going to turn on stretching so that you can see. So right now there's no stretching, which is fantastic. So if we were happy with this, we could just go ahead and pack that. So you can either use a specific, you can either use a, the default method, or you can use the add-on shot packer, which is my preferred method. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to set this to 10, and we're going to set the margin to 0.5, and we'll just hit pack on that and see how that goes. It's probably not going to make much of a difference because this is quite a small, there's not a lot of islands here to work with. But I really like this add-on. It's fantastic. It's fast and it does really great packs. And it basically packs it 50 times, and it's going to pick the best one out of all of them. So this is just a little extra to get, a better pack. The default's not awful though. So we'll just wait for that to complete. It's 57%. And that's basically, I pretty much use that for my entire process. The only other thing I use is an add-on called, I think it's UV squares possibly. I'll find out now. There you go. So that's packed. It said it thinks that this is the way to get the highest texel density, which is fine. Yeah, so UV squares, and it has a button that lets you do 2 square grid, and it also has it set to a hotkey called X, I think. So you select the island. So you want to be in. I don't know, you want to be this button off basically. So the sync button you want to change, and basically you hit, you select the island, hit X, and it will rectangular. And I believe that's part of UV squares. And that's looking great. So basically you've straightened the islands now, which is fantastic. It's just an automatic algorithm for doing that. It's got a little bit of stretching, but that's fine. And then I would just go through and we'll set this on a lower threshold and we'll hit pack and see how that looks. But it should look much better. And that's my entire process, really. I can show you the script if you like, but it's super simple, and I can share it with you. There you go. So it's gone through all the iterations, and it's found that this is the best the best method of doing this. It's not the best method, but that's just the way that you would have the highest textile density. So that's it. That's my entire unwrap process. It's really quick. It's super easy.